Joining me on Decent Cities is the head of growth for Chainstack, Austin Piazza. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me here.
Cool. So see each other out and about. You're a Tampa Bay native and been meaning to get together and have a conversation for a while. So it's good that it's finally happening.
Yeah, great to be here, man. You and I have been crossing paths for many, many years now, and it's cool to be in the same industry yet again after all these years syncing up.
And especially at the time that we're in now, it feels like settling the new world. It's like a lot of a lot of rough patches, a lot of awesome passages, a lot of amazing new discoveries, and a lot of common pitfalls as well. So, obviously the industry is moving back and forth, but, you're heavy into working with people who are building real utility and building, powerful use cases. So, let's do the proverbial little bit of 101 on Chainstack and some of the services, and then we'll dig in from there.
Yeah. So Chainstack, we are a web3 infrastructure provider, right? And, it used to be where that was pretty much just nodes and RPCs. And as we started to get more and more customers, at this point, we're over 14,000 customers on the platform utilizing the infrastructure that we've got. We've kind of realized that it's going to take a lot more than just nodes and RPCs for somebody to be successful in the industry. And so we're really trying to go out there and find some of the best products that are out there in the space that are bringing really great utility. And we want to bring that and integrate that in and put that on our marketplace to make sure that these types of things are available to our customers. Not only that, right, when people start to say things like, we're looking for IPFS, we're looking for different types of APIs and SDKs. These are the areas that we're now starting to expand into, right? We really want to make it to where you can come to Chainstack, you can get access to the protocols that you're looking for. And then we also have a lot of complementary goods in there as well. So that everything that you might need to start to scale, you're going to be able to get directly through Chainstack or through our partner marketplace program that we're building out as well.
That's awesome. So let's look at a use case just so we can see how that expresses itself. So can you think of an example of a company or someone who's come and use a couple of the products to build out something that jumps out?
Yeah, I think one of the best reasons that, a lot of people start to flock to Chainstack, right, is we're multi-chain. So we actually support a growing number of protocols, right? It's not just ETH and Polygon. While we do service those, we know that there's a lot of other really great L1s and L2s that are coming up in the space. All around the world too, right? Not just specifically focused on the US or the EU, all across the globe. So what we really try to do is to vet out. We do a lot of due diligence on these protocols and the projects that we end up partnering with, because we really want everybody to know that this is a trusted platform, right? We do a lot of that research for you so that you don't have to be so worried to enter the blockchain space. Now, some of the reasons why people come over to Chainstack is because in the past, right, you had to have 3, 4, maybe 5 different infrastructure providers just to get access to all of the chains that you were looking for. So now the cool thing is that we can kind of go up to projects that we know are running multi-chain, and we can tell them, while you've got all of these different areas going on, you don't have to have 7 different subscriptions, right? You don't have to have all of these different prices and these different account managers. You can come over to Chainstack. We can give you access to all the chains that you're looking for. And now we also have these subsets of different complementary products internally. And then we can also share with you the marketplaces. So really, people that are going that multi-chain route, this is going to save you a lot of time and effort coming on board with us here, because you can pretty much just consolidate, and then you can have a team that you can work with hand in hand on the regular.
Makes sense. So, we talked a while back about one of the projects that we're working on with building a gallery, and that if someone wants to, we want to first lazy mint the NFT for the artist. And then if somebody wants to purchase that art, we want to be sort of chain agnostic and give them options to say, yep, I happen to be, heavy into I want my NFT on Polygon. I want my NFT on ETH, Ethereum. And so, with Chainstack services, that'd be a perfect kind of use case where you could lazy mint it and then push it over to whichever chain you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So there doesn't have to be kind of that arduous back and forth, right? When you come on with Chainstack, you get access to all those different protocols, all those different chains, and it makes your life a lot easier there.
And as you sort of evolve the product mix, are you looking to go, what would I call it, more or less technical, in that, the idea is that if you can open up services to people who want to perform functions and make them have to know less, make the technical load less for them, and they can use the service to do some of those things. Maybe a front end to code a smart contract versus having to actually, code it from scratch. How are you, what's your strategy for building those kinds of products?
So we are primarily focused on that infrastructure side. So we just want to make sure that we give you the platform where you can launch your smart contracts. Now, on that same note, right, we do have partnerships where I think one of the big things that we started to see, right, especially now with security in different areas like that. Now, we're not the security experts, but we do partner with a lot of security experts. So as you get into your coding and you start to launch different types of smart contracts, we have partners that if you kind of just reach out to your account managers, right, we are able to help you in a vast majority of these different areas. So if you need smart contract audits, code audits, any of these different types of services, right, like I said, there's over 14,000 customers onto here. So we try to pick and choose the best ones that kind of bubble up to the top. And we say you have a great service here, right? There's two options, right? We can try to integrate in there with it, or we can just do you as a value add in case somebody needs it. That's kind of how those warp transactions came up as well, right? I think one of the great things about Chainstack is that we don't have a token, so we're not focused on trying to pump our token price. What we primarily care about is making sure that the industry as a whole moves forward, and also making sure that all of our customers are successful, right? That is the heart of who Chainstack is as a company, is that we want to make sure that our customers are successful. So when somebody signs on to Chainstack, you'll have an account manager, you'll have an account executive, and you can just ask them, right? What are other people doing? We have heads of different verticals with NFTs, with gaming, with DeFi, and anytime you want to speak to these people, you absolutely can, right? We've got a head of gaming who helps out a lot of these really large gaming projects. And he can just, you can just have a regular conversation. What are other gaming projects do? Well, a lot of people are launching these subnets now. You can also do different types of load balancing. There's a bunch of different things that, these experts in these specific areas, they've talked to so many projects that at this point, if you just need some help and you want to be guided down the correct path, that's where Chainstack is going to be primed to help you.
Sounds like a lot of value. The core early business was nodes, or a big part of it was nodes. And so, how has the crypto winter or the economics of staking and mining and whatnot changing? How much has that affected Chainstack?
So we don't really do any staking. We do help people that do, like if you're a validator, we help a lot of these validator organizations. We also help some of the other infrastructure providers that are out there. How has the winter kind of helped us? We are based off of a lot of builders, right? And I think that's a really great piece for us to see. And, I have a lot of other organizations and friends that ask, how is Chainstack holding up during the market? For us, it doesn't matter much to us. Like I said, we don't have a token, so we don't get hurt by it. Some of our customers do. And when that type of thing happens, again, we really try to facilitate other introductions to help them get their feet back underneath them. On our side, we just kind of look at our numbers, right? And when we see that there's, 1,200, 1,400 new people signing up on the platform every month, that kind of lets us know that, while the broad market might be going down, the builders are still flooding into the space and they're still building, right? They're coming up with new projects. And when one fails, that team of 4 or 5 people that were building that one project, they split off and they go create 2 or 3 brand new projects. So when we look at our data and the amount of people that are still signing up, even though the market is going down, there are still tons of people flooding into the industry to try and build.
That's great. And and as they're building, obviously, you had said that you want to be the first full Web3 platform. What are the recurring challenges or needs that you're seeing as your Web2 folks who have Web2 infrastructure want to connect this in? How does Chainstack play a role of either evolving Web2 into Web3 or marrying what you do to existing infrastructure?
So when it comes to the Web2 play, Chainstack has a slightly different stance on it, right? Because there's nothing for me to sell to a lot of these large Web2 organizations directly. So because of that, they kind of come to us and they just say, look, we kind of understand that you guys are not going to, shill something to us for no reason just to make a profit. they come to us and they just ask questions, right? Like, these are our ideas. This is what we're looking at. What can we do on blockchain? What are other people doing in the industry? What are some other Web2 companies coming in? How are they utilizing it? And then the other part of what they ask is who can we trust, right? That's kind of the biggest issue that most of these organizations have. Most Web2 companies now have a Web3 person that's in charge of it. And it's probably a team of, 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 people. And those people have to report up. And every time they go back, the higher ups always say, well, I'm looking at the market, I'm looking at this. And then you see, the FTX, and that didn't help anybody, in their mind become more confident. And so that's why they kind of come to us and they go, who can we actually trust in the industry? So that's why, if you follow me on Twitter, you kind of always see me saying, who has a good project, bubble it up, let me talk to it, let's see if it's legit, let's walk through all the different pieces for it. And then from that, right, that's where we start to introduce these people to these large projects. Because it's the projects, the Web3 native projects that use Chainstack, but it's the Web2 projects that come to us to figure out who to use inside of Web3. And so we just really want to be that connector, and they kind of understand, right? The base of what you need is that reliable infrastructure, and then you can build off of that. So what they want to make sure is that the projects that are out there have that reliable infrastructure, and then they want to make sure that they're not going to get rugged in the process of all of this too.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Obviously, there's no shortage of Web3 and blockchain projects out there, and they vary from to financial gimmickry on one end to straight utility on the other end. So when you're digging into new projects and prepping yourself to answer that question of who can I trust, how do you decide that? What do you look for?
So, the white paper used to be a good one, but I know a lot of people kind of copy and paste those white papers. It is pretty astounding, those, how copy and paste a lot of them are. But a lot of what you also look at, right, is the team. Who's the leadership team, right? What are their morals? What are their values? Where's their roadmap? What are they looking towards? And when you have kind of a conversation with people, after you've talked to enough in this space, you kind of realize, okay, this person is here to really push the industry forward. They believe in the industry, and they're not just here to make a quick buck. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we come across, right? When you ask people, what's your 3-year plan? Like, where are you going to go? Where are you going to expand into? Tell me about your team. How are you going to grow the team? If they don't really have a vision in any of that, and they're like, we're just launching this token and put us on the marketplace and integrate us into Chainstack, right? When you push that hard for something, instead of building the relationship of here's our value, here's who we want to help, here's how we're going to help, right? It's a very clear differentiator between somebody who's really quickly looking to make a dollar and the people that are saying we want to help the industry as a whole succeed, and we want to help Chainstack make sure that happens. So those are kind of the areas that we look for too.
And obviously we're in a state of growth, and we're in that space now where people are trying to make it attracts to people because frankly one of the bigger utilities is making a quick buck. If you look at it from an interest standpoint, and we have to emerge out of that to a place where where Walmart can track avocados from a tree to a shelf, so they don't have to shut down all of avocado sales in all of Florida if one goes bad or whatever. So from a culture standpoint at Chainstack, do you really take that as a responsibility for the organization to be thought leaders and to go out and interface with these big companies and show them the utility and the opportunities with blockchain technology?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also why, right, we have heads of each different vertical, because that's definitely something that's needed, right? And, we talk about, the supply chain with the avocados, but it also goes down to like sneakers, right? How big is that business of, fake sneakers that are out there? What if you could actually just scan and you could actually see all the way back to the genesis of that sneaker to verify that this is legitimate, right? And it's really cool. And we actually, we eat our own dog food. When people sign up with us, we end up using it, right? I just signed up for an app where I get my car is it's a Tesla, right? So I actually get to have that data and sell that data and then get paid in tokens for that data that just would have been taken from me otherwise, right? And if you use a browser, right, now you can see eventually there would be proof of attention tokens and all of these different areas. We want to get in there, we want to test it, and we want to hear about the use cases that are out there, right? We've even talked to like wineries where the wineries are included with NFTs and coffee coffee is the exact same way, right? You can go all the way back down to it. And when you talk to like some of the large banks that are trying to unbank the unbanked or bank the unbanked, in Africa and places like that, it's really great to see it. And the fact that we can learn more about these means we can put more people in touch with each other to make sure that the industry succeeds. And that's one of the overall pieces of Chainstack, right? We want to make sure that the industry succeeds and our customers do as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because Chainstack is such a organic, it's growing organically. It's kind of a weird animal in a lot of ways, but also a collection of very logical and needed services. Can you give us a few minutes on the origin of the company and its roots, and then sort of what grew out of those roots?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we started about 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, building private managed blockchains for very large Web2 institutions. We started building that out for them internally on these private managed blockchains. And then we kind of realized, if the private sector is having this amount of issues, this is probably going to be a public sector issue as well. And then as we started to see more L1s and L2s popping up, we realized it's probably going to be a multi-chain future as well, right? You're still going to have your maxis, but a lot of people are going to go multi-chain. And so around July of last year, we started offering our public protocol, the public offerings of this protocols that we've got. And then we spent pretty much, the end of last year up to January figuring out how we're going to take this to market. And since then, right, it's just kind of been an explosion. The moment that we brought it onto there, we had about 8 people back then, and now we're over, well over 100. I can't tell, right? There's about 4 or 5 people hired every week into there, and that's still not enough. I mean, I try to say to all of my friends and everybody on LinkedIn, right, you need to get into this space. There's a huge demand for people that want to get into it. It's really about educating yourself and getting into it. But, the growth that's come from that is just seeing what the industry needs. That's what we try to fill. Like, where are the gaps that are out there? And we want to go help fill them. And we take a lot of that input from our customers, right? So there's ideas.chainstack.com, and anybody can go to that and put in what they want. That's actually how we choose a lot of the protocols that we want to go look at. And that's how we add a lot of the features that we're looking at as well. It's from the feedback of our customers and the community that says this is what the community and the industry needs. And that's where we go and start to act on.
And one thing the community told you it needed was a marketplace you're working on building. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the marketplace, again, right, there's a lot of different projects that are being built out there that have a lot of great use on them. And so we try to pick kind of the top ones in each different area. Some of them are coding, some of them are audits, smart contract audits, code audits, tax and accounting, different types of PR. If you need, employees, like you need to hire more people, we can put you in touch with the people that can help with that. And then also, right, just services that you're going to need just as a project that's building, right? We're here to help in all of those different ways. And if somebody's got a project, right, definitely reach out, get added into that. That's what we're really trying to do, is to curate a list of trusted projects.
Going back to trust again.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's great. It's, in addition to all the great work you're doing at Chainstack, I really do appreciate the energy you bring to the community. We are based in Tampa Bay, and we have a real shot to be a pretty cool place for all things Web3 here in Tampa Bay, and you're a big part of that. And so love the drive, and I will look forward to seeing you at the next meetup.
Absolutely, Joe. Always a pleasure speaking with you, man.
Awesome, Piazza. Thanks, man.